Welcome to the Andy Staples Show. It is a special emergency edition of the show. As you can see, if you're watching the YouTube stream, we have the Tennessee Notice of Allegations up on the screen. Ari Wasserman, this is a watershed moment in college sports history. Not necessarily because these accusations are all that serious. There are so many restaurants involved.
Yeah, no, I saw. And I've been to Gatlinburg. And one of the wonderful things that I discovered in my 20s was how pretty Tennessee actually is as a state, driving through it. And,
You didn't know Tennessee was pretty?
I didn't really know it was like a
state.
beautiful state. Outside of what you know about it from having not explored it. When I drove through the Great Smoky Mountains in Gatlinburg, I was like, holy crap, this feels like I'm in a national park that you would read about, like Yellowstone or something. And I've never been to Yellowstone, and that's probably something else I should rectify. But Tennessee is a gorgeous state.
Yeah. Well, it is, and apparently a lot of East Tennessee was shown to recruits during COVID when they weren't supposed to be there, and when you weren't supposed to be giving them brunch and mani-pedis. And this notice of allegations, all based on Jeremy Pruitt's tenure there. It is the reason they got to fire Jeremy Pruitt for free. You can say whatever you want about, why did Tennessee cooperate with this? Because they've saved millions firing Jeremy Pruitt, who was not a winning coach.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to do the Price is Right game of how much would it have cost to not cooperate and how much does it cost now? And who knows what's going to happen as a result of this or what the punishment is going to be. But they saved a ton of cash to move on from a coach that wasn't winning much despite all of this. So, the one thing and the first thing that came to my mind was the big upheaval that Tennessee fans had when they initially tried to hire Greg Schiano. Obviously, you remember that, right? In 2017.
Yeah, I might recall it.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like this upheaval of allowing the people who make the decisions in the hiring process at your school to actually make those fundamental decisions rather than, having that big upheaval, removing Schiano as coach because fans didn't want it. And then this is what you end up with. So it's kind of like, I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but it just kind of feels like a wise man once told me, Andy, that it all comes back around in the morning, and it seems to be coming back around right now. So this is kind of a lot to unpack because you have a bunch of restaurants, and I saw a Maryland crab cake sandwich on one of the restaurants. Which, by the way, if you're gonna commit a recruiting violation, you send them to get the crab cake sandwich at Chesapeake's.
What wasn't that after La? Is it La?
Yeah, the La. I mean, that sounds like a lovely date day. Like, I would like to take my wife to get a wonderful seafood dinner and then never call her again.
Hey, sweet thing, let me buy you a fish sandwich.
Yeah, and then go get your nails done. And I don't know if this is the time or place for it. We'll get to it later in the podcast, but there is a whole world of male pampering out there that people are too cool to admit to. But I've discovered quite a few of these little delicacies ever since I started dating my now wife. And I don't think I'm ever going to be a person that doesn't go through life and getting feet massages and mani-pedis and certain haircuts where they give you like the massages. Like I'm in that phase of life now where it's like I'm gonna pay the extra 15 bones and I'm gonna relax a little bit. So that to me,
better yet, have a Tennessee assistant pay it for you.
Yeah, somebody tweeted at me, well, it would be better if it was on the house. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm a loser. No one wants to buy my mani-pedis for me. Thanks for reminding me, bro. But yeah, I think. Everyone's talking about McDonald's bags of cash, but what about seafood and foot massage?
Well, and what did we I think the most important thing we learned in this NOA, it was not McDonald's bags of cash, it was McDonald's bags of McDonald's.
Which, if you ask me, is better than cash. Now, I have a little bit of a gripe here, Andy.
Ari was paying. The Athletic actually pays Ari in filet of fishes.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody knew
that. Odell Beckham Jr. took his salary in Bitcoin. I take mine in filet o fish. The funniest thing about that is that if you're going to go $225 on breakfast, though, at a fast food restaurant, my recommendation from me to you and the listeners is that Burger King breakfast is king. The pun is intended. It has the best fast food breakfast. And if you're going to go $225, you can get yourself some French toast sticks, some egg and cheese croissant sandwich, and there you have the best fast food
Are we sure that
potatoes.
McDonald's? I'm going to have to check the notice of allegations on this. Hold on, let me call it up on the
We got to
screen.
figure out if it was breakfast or just lunch.
I think the McDonald's may have been lunch or dinner. It was definitely specified that Chick-fil-A was breakfast, and it was only $25 worth. Now,
what's that? That's 2 fried chicken biscuits and 2 potatoes and maybe a couple drinks there.
they're not that expensive.
I mean, inflation's 8% this year, pal. I mean, it might be.
This was 2020. This was pre-inflation.
Oh yeah, I can spend $25 at Chick-fil-A breakfast in a heartbeat. So I don't know, the amounts aren't that egregious, but the funniest thing about this whole thing, Andy, isn't necessarily the allegations and the individual things that occurred. It's the amount of instances of it that have been proven to be true. So, and the thing that we have to say, because this is going to be kind of a funny podcast, because I found this to be quite entertaining today.
Highly entertaining.
There is a certain sect of seriousness here, which is one, providing visits during COVID, which at the time, regardless of what we think of COVID now, or, what your opinion was from the beginning of that, it was a public safety matter at that point, and people were ignoring those things.
Well,
and then two,
that's why the other football coaches will be so mad about this. Same reason they were so mad about all
because
the
it was
stuff.
like, everyone always jokes about like the unspoken agreement about don't recruit committed players and stuff. That was always a joke. But I do think that coaches during that time had an unspoken agreement and understanding that, hey guys, all's fair in love and recruiting, but right now during this crisis where we can't guys on campus, we're all going to sit back and allow this stuff to play out. And there were a few coaches that crossed the line here. I think Chris Vanini is the one who posted this, but now this is the third program that has done it. Air Force.
It's been accused of it. Air Force,
Arizona State, and now Tennessee. So, and I personally am kind of shocked that people didn't make such a big deal out of those things, like how there were some coaches, and I know coaches got fired at ASU, but, the fact that the head coach is the same and that things seem to be just kind of trucking on business as usual there after something what I thought was so serious. I mean, could you imagine in the height of COVID when all of us were trying to react to the news every day of what it meant and what was happening in our country? If somebody would have said Arizona State had a bunch of kids on campus against the rules, like, wow, we were in that bubble of being scared, like how serious it was. Like now we look back at it, it's no big deal. But like at the time, it was a really big deal.
Right. And the other coaches were abiding by it for the most part. We've not heard a lot of people say, oh, I know this. Because you and I both know these coaches are happy to accuse one another of NCAA rules violations. We hadn't heard a lot of that. A lot of, oh, they're doing this.
Right. No, I know. And I think that people actually like thought about the best in each other. It's like, oh, well, he might pay a recruiter. He might do something below board. But during this time when we're all trying to hunker down and get past this virus, we're all going to do things the right way. And I think that for the most part, coaches kind of adhered to this.
Yeah, I think that's where the anger from other coaches would come in. But can I be perfectly frank here? If Jeremy Pruitt had Tennessee competing for the SEC's title, Tennessee would have defended him to the death.
Sure.
Over these allegations.
And now that we're sitting here in the golden era of the NIL boom, the amount of $60,000 is kind of just like,
it's stupid. Yeah. But it saved them $12.6 million.
Yeah.
To fire him. Now he's probably going to sue. Maybe they'll settle for a different amount. But say what you want about the stupidity of the NCAA's rules and the fact that this doesn't even feel like it's against the rules anymore, even though this stuff kind of actually still is, but not really. This gives them cover to fire him. His contract was pretty clear that you can't commit level 1 violations. He committed level 1 violations. They may be saving $12.6 million here.
Yeah. I mean, and it's obviously a no-brainer for the program, but there is actual rules that would be broken even in the NIL era that we have to make sure people understand. That actual financial inducement from coaching staff members is a major no-no even in this current world that we're in from a rules standpoint.
Especially when it's Chick-fil-A when they could have gone to Burger King, right?
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, if it was Burger King, then I mean, it's understandable.
It's a crust sandwich. It's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
they actually should write that in the bylaws.
Yeah, so, you spend $225 on Filet-O-Fish, you're good in my book. But it's still a breach of rules, though, Andy. And like I don't know how it's going to be. How does the NCAA proceed in terms of punishment during a time where this would be nothing from a perception standpoint now,
Well, and they've said they're trying to get away from bowl bans. They're trying to actually punish the people who did it instead of punishing people 3-4 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that's what you're going to do, you punish Jeremy Pruitt, who, whatever, he worked in the NFL last year. He can just wait out his show cause. You punish other people, but don't do anything that harms the program going forward according to their own priorities. Now, maybe they will, because like Missouri cooperated fully with that deal with the tutor, and they got hit with a bowl ban. So we'll see. But yeah, I think Tennessee took a calculated risk here where they go, you know what? We want to fire this guy. He's not very good as a head coach. So let's try to save all this money. If
worth the PR hit. And we feel like during a time when the PR was probably like, listen, if this happened 10 years ago, the tone of this podcast would be much different than it is right now. And I think that you have to,
but yeah.
I mean, we probably still would be talking about the Chesapeake's
well, I always
sandwich,
thought it was dumb to nitpick on this stuff anyway. But yeah, if this had been like if this had been 20 or 30 years ago, we would have treated this like somebody committed murder.
Yeah, and I don't know.
He took them to a brunch place.
Yeah, my perception of this whole thing is different too, because I was 21 years old, my first year as a journalist, when the Tressel stuff happened at Ohio State, and during that 1 month period where they were looking into, the Tatgate scandal, I thought like, oh my God, journalism, the world of journalism is too big for me. The amount of stress and pressure and seriousness that I took in that realm, I think has almost shaped my viewpoint of like when your school gets caught with its pants down, and they did something wrong and they got you by the book, then this is a huge, huge deal. But like, as we've continued on to bigger scandals and more important issues in this world,
had just told the truth to the investigators, he wouldn't have been. That would have been a very small deal too.
Yeah, right.
He lied to him. That's what got him.
Yeah, and that was a very complex issue, I guess, based on what Tressel did and all the things back and forth. But like, it's like the cover of Sports Illustrated that came out that week, when I remember it said how deep it went. And it's just like, when you look at all the things that have happened in the 10 years,
go very deep.
It wasn't very. It was like a puddle, It was,
I worked at SI at the time. I didn't write that story. I can tell you, it didn't go very deep.
Yeah, it wasn't that deep. And the fact of the matter is that now the public perceives compensation differently. So even though this occurred before these rules changed, I think that taking that calculated risk, trying to save all that money on the buyout, and then putting it out into the world, will be received differently, and was probably the smartest possible thing that Tennessee could have done from the program standpoint.
Right. And also the people running Tennessee now, different AD, different coach, different pretty much everything. Yeah, that's all they have to say is, separate. Hey, we weren't here. We didn't have anything to do with that. What do you want us to do about it?
And the statute of limitations in college football can be real quick if it's a new staff and new administration too.
Yeah, and so we'll see what they do to them. I don't know. They lost a bunch of players through the transfer portal. They were probably I wonder how close to the 85 they were last year. They probably, because of super seniors, could get fairly close to it. Had there not been super seniors, had there not been that extra eligibility year because of COVID, Tennessee probably would have been running at a pretty big scholarship deficit anyway. So I don't know exactly what sort of punishment there will be in the future for the school. So I think probably they were smart taking the risk. Maybe I'll be proven wrong by whatever the Committee on Infractions does to them, but I think they'll probably wind up being smart, because $12.6 million is a lot of money.
And, or it could just be like the NCAA's final chance to lay down the hammer before they're completely
right.
isolated.
The Committee on Infractions is like, well, I mean, doesn't this feel like
death penalty for old time's sake, boys? Before we get out of here,
somebody got caught with like a pound of weed 6 months before weed was legalized, and now they're going on trial.
But isn't a pound of weed still illegal?
Depends on where you are.
Because a pound of weed is a lot of weed.
It is a lot of weed. That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah, a pound of weed is 18 violations, or Category 1 violations.
Right. But remember, $60,000. How long did it take Jeremy Pruitt to make $60,000? 2 days?
Probably 1 day, yeah.
So who cares? Like, again.
Yeah. And they were
It's
putting them up in
stupid.
Crown Plaza. I mean, at least get the points at Marriott or something.
There were a couple Hiltons in there.
Okay, there were a couple Hiltons. All right.
Yeah.
Hilton Rewards kind of slap too.
But that's the part, like when the Ole Miss one came out, and it was a ridiculously low amount of money. I think it was like $6,000 or something like that. It's just idiotic. Why did you waste all that money investigating this? Why? Who cares?
It's like the amount of money and effort that goes into the investigation outweighs the severity of the issue and the financial basis of the whole thing.
Exactly, which is why now that none of this stuff actually matters, it looks really idiotic.
But if Tennessee's current staff took money from their accounts or the money came directly from the staff, just to be clear, that would still be a violation of the rules.
Yes. It still would be now.
Now, even if it's against the rules, I don't know if anybody would care, depending on the dollar amount. I mean, if Coach Smith from random University X wants to pay $361 for a 3-night stay at a Crown Plaza for a recruit, and he feels like that's the best way he can use his $360, then all the power to you. Because like there is no, you know what the funniest thing to me about cheating is, Andy?
What's
that there's no fundamental proof that spending all this money on all this dumb crap like nail salons and cheesesteaks has any impact on your team being good in the future. Like how many people have been cheating for how many years, and how many people have actually successfully, like, you know what? We bought our entire recruiting class. We bought them all the McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. We put them up in as many nights as the Crown Plaza as possible. And to show for all that money and all that stupid stuff, there's ATV tours on there. I saw like an amusement park.
They went to the aquarium in Gatlinburg. Hey.
So now they're going to win a national title because of it. If you want to go do all this frivolous bullcrap with your checking account, then go do it. I'd rather gamble.
We got a question from Lester. How about that 5-star 2023 QB commit? That would be Nico Iamaleava. I don't think this affects him at all.
Don't think it does at all either. Yeah.
In fact, he's probably like
$60,000.
Yeah. He can. Yeah, that's chump change to him. He lives in California. You can have NIL deals as a high school athlete in California. So
yeah,
whatever anybody's giving him, take it up with the state of California.
Yeah.
So this is why you're going to see the Tennessee fans will be like, well, this is stupid. And then see, I always thought nobody actually really cared about NCAA violations, at least nobody who thought about it critically. But they did want to see their rivals suffer.
Right. So and it's the number one thing that people say on Twitter when in arguments. If their favorite team loses to Team X and Team X has NCAA violations, then it's always like, well, at least our program doesn't do this. And then
at least our program doesn't buy people McDonald's.
Yeah, as if that's a problem. I mean, I personally think it's a sign of love.
We do need to talk about some of the important things here. There's so much brunch in this thing.
Okay, let's. So
there's a place called Scrambled Jake's that they took somebody to. This place has deep fried deviled eggs.
Oh wow! I'm a big deviled egg guy.
I don't like deviled eggs. The smell of
mayonnaise on them.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. But I get why someone would just be over the moon if they could get deep fried deviled eggs with panko breading, honey brown mustard dipping sauce. This is Scrambled Jake's.
I'm looking at their menu right now.
A Cinnamon roll, S-I-N sin, and it does look sinful. This cinnamon roll that they have. You got scramblers. Big fan of the scrambler with your eggs and just all sorts of goodness mixed in there. Biscuits and gravy. The Pineapple Express, a half of a fresh pineapple filled with Greek yogurt and seasonal cut fruit, topped with granola and local honey. Ari, there's a $10 French press coffee.
You know what I'm going to say about this place that I respect?
What's that?
Brunch has kind of like, when I say brunch, what do you think? Like, what's the first thing that pops into your head when you say brunch?
Quiche.
Okay, my thing has always been like eggs and mimosas because it's
eggs Benedict probably and mimosa. Yeah.
But like there's been like brunch is also like a healthy, like you can make it healthy and it's like egg whites and fresh fruit and gluten-free toast or whatever. Like I like that this place is just, you know what? You're going to have a 2,000 calorie brunch and you're going to enjoy it. Like this whole menu.
Well, I'm a fan of the workout all Saturday morning and then go to brunch and then just kill it.
Yeah. And like, they're not even trying to make it sound even remotely healthy. We got swaggerty sausage. We got pecan smothered bacon. Like, let's
crepes.
go. Crepes.
Say I love crepes.
I love crepes.
Oh, you don't remember the movie.
Bagel. What's a bagel, Benny?
That would be an eggs Benedict
Eggs
on a
Benedict with a
bagel
bagel instead
on
of
a
the.
bagel instead of an English muffin. That sounds pretty
Let's
good.
go. Dude, this place, this is a slapper. I think I'm going to throw it on the good old SEC tour, future tour list.
I agree. Got another one called Ruby Sunshine.
This is a very important question before you go down this list more. You,
Okay, go for it.
You pancake, waffle, or French toast guy?
Probably pancakes first.
Same.
Probably waffles second, French toast third. But it really does depend on the mood. Like there's some times when French toast really hits the spot.
It does. It just it depends on how thick the bread is that they use.
Right.
Now,
I want the thickest bread you can find.
If you're a challah bread person,
challah.
We're gonna go singing 2 for 2 today. You got singing on Thursday night, and you got Friday singing. What's 2 podcasts? 2 singing. Hit those high notes, baby.
Episode.
It's egg bread, but my mother makes French toast with the egg on the challah bread, and it is divine.
Okay. I am.
So you can come on over to our house.
At your house, yes.
Bill Landis had it one time, and I don't think his life has ever been the same since.
Okay, so there's another brunch place called Ruby Sunshine that they took some people to.
Okay,
listen to this.
Pulling up the menu now.
This is their eggs Benedict from their Tennessee menu. So it's the eggs cochon, slow cooked apple braised pork debris served over a buttermilk biscuit topped with 2 poached eggs and finished with hollandaise. Come on. I'm signing a letter of intent after I eat that.
So like brunch is the closer meal, huh?
Because it's like right?
Yeah, is it the Sunday brunch?
Whoa.
I always thought that it was the Sunday brunch. Official visit on Saturday, go to the game Saturday night, have a good time, watch the game, wake up the next morning. Players went out after if they win or whatever, and then you go get brunch before you head home.
Well, why can't you have brunch on Saturday and Sunday?
I mean, you can have brunch every day of the week. I'm just saying, like I thought Sunday brunch was like the closer.
The Peacemaker is you can mix and match any 2 of their eggs Benedicts for $16.50. They have the eggs Blackstone, the OG, applewood smoked bacon and grilled tomatoes served over buttermilk biscuit, topped with 2 poached eggs, finished with hollandaise. There's one that has Gulf shrimp sauteed with pork tasso and Creole tomato sauce served over poached eggs, fried green tomatoes, and a buttermilk biscuit.
Does that sound good to you?
The Bayou shrimp one? Yes.
That sounds like 100%. A lot for 11 a.m.
How about this one? Chicken St. I can't even believe I'm talking to you right now. What you are saying something sounds like a lot?
Just like those ingredients just don't. I mean, I don't. Just give me carbs and sugar. Like I don't need like Creole tomato sauce.
You need savory. Yeah. Listen to this.
Like we know
chicken St. Charles. I'm still only in the eggs Benedict section.
Okay,
fried chicken breast served over buttermilk biscuit, topped with 2 poached eggs, finished with a pork tasso cream sauce.
Dude, dude, we should be getting checks from these people. You know, like we're gassing them up right now. You know, I just feel like there needs to be a triple play brunch dish that has a slice of, a 1 pancake, 1 Belgian waffle, and a few slices of French toast on the same dish. So it's called the triple play. That's my dream for America. Yeah.
I like that. Now that's not bougie enough for most brunch places.
Yeah, I know you got to have like
3 very basic things. But I'm with you here. How about this? This is at that Ruby Sunshine place still. Sweet heat chicken and French toast bites. It's like mini French toast bites. Fried chicken and fresh strawberries tossed in Mike's hot honey glaze over French toast bites.
That sounds good.
Yeah. I mean.
And I know that like.
So they have a trifecta. But it's 1 serving of eggs cochon, which is the one with the pork debris, chicken St. Charles, and the Bayou shrimp eggs Benedict.
Yeah, and I know that fried chicken has kind of been like a addition to the brunch scene, like in the last 5 years. Yeah, but it's been a very welcomed addition, I think.
Ari, stuffed French toast. You want to know what it's stuffed with?
Talk dirty to me.
Bananas Foster.
No way.
Yes.
Dude, how are you going to plug that into the Lose It app?
With a very large number next to it. And not brunch would be the only meal of the day. That's when
all of a sudden that maroon blazer's fitting a little bit more snug the next day.
Yeah, you become an OMAD. You know what OMAD means, right?
No, I don't.
1 meal a day.
Oh, 1 meal a day.
One very large meal a day.
Never had that.
I think you might if you went to this place. So, I mean, look, you give me the pork debris eggs Benedict, I'm signing right there.
Yeah. Okay. So like, we have to give Tennessee props for the effort, right?
Absolutely. Well, no, we don't have to give them it. Well, it's like I give the
No, I'm
current
just saying
Tennessee
if they're going to spend the
administration
money, they're spending it on the right
right.
things. Is what
Oh
we're
yeah,
saying.
I
Yeah.
give the current Tennessee administration credit for finding a way to wriggle out of a $12.7 million buyout. I the stupidity of some of the cheating, like it's just brazen. Like there used to be a code about this sort of thing. Like you tried to keep it under wraps, you tried to keep it secret, you tried to pay cash. Like this is just stupid.
Yeah, and with direct links on hotel room names to people who shouldn't be paying for them too.
Yeah. I mean that's just idiotic. Like you didn't have to do that way. Like people used to take pride in how they cheated.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the thing that I
Dude,
was
back when cashier's checks were a thing, right? Those
exactly.
paid.
Well, remember I wrote the manual on how to cheat, the cheating for dummies,
Yeah.
because I was so insulted by Chip Kelly paying Will Lyles, like paying a recruit's handler with a check. That was just insulting to me. Like I grew up in the South, man.
Do you know what's crazy though?
Colleges
Like,
knew
how
how
could
to
you
cheat back in
possibly
the
not
day.
even consider that?
I don't know.
Like, it's like common sense.
It's funny because when people say, well, they hadn't actually done anything like that before. I believe it because they were bad at it. People who do it all the time are good at it.
What's the number one rule of tax evasion? No paper trail.
Right. Right. And
not that I would know.
Rules 1, 3, 5, and 7 of cheating for dummies were always pay cash.
I want to make it clear I don't evade my taxes. That was just a joke.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad you don't.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever paid a recruit either, but if I did, it would be in cash.
I don't think I would. I don't care how big of a fan I was of any team ever, even if it was like my whole outlet in life. I don't know that I would ever pay a recruit anything ever.
No, well, of course not. It's a terrible investment.
Like I would much rather
study recruiting rankings. We know the bust rates.
Yeah. No, I mean, it just, even if I knew the guy was going to be good, I don't know if I'd want to pay him.
No, but this is, I don't know that we get much more out of this. I'm sure there will be some sort of punishment handed out by the NCAA, but my guess is they will focus more on the people involved, to Jeremy Pruitt, his staffers. I don't know what Tennessee's going to get hit, where Tennessee gets hit out of this.
Yeah. That was entertaining. I hope for the people who are their sake that they don't get hit. Because the bowl bans 4 years down the road have never made sense. The deleting of wins out of the record book was moronic. I don't know. Like, what do you?
I just thought that was stupid because we know who won. It's on YouTube. Like you didn't actually do anything. So, well, are there enough wins to even delete?
Yeah.
I mean that's
get
why
some angry
you didn't
fan
defend
mail.
the guy. You wanted him gone.
That's right.
Well, all right. I don't know what we've learned other than we really need to get to Knoxville to eat some brunch.
All I want to do is go to Knoxville with you and eat brunch. I mean, just let's go as a friend. Like, just no business trip. Let's just meet there and have some fun.
Well, I mean, the Florida game this year is probably going to be very exciting. I think that's going to be quite a weekend. So let's do some brunch. Craig Smith asked us before we go, did Jeremy Pruitt fail as a coach because the food he bought wasn't good enough? Was he a cheap, low-taste cheater? Strong disagree, Craig. Strong disagree. I think he chose wisely on the menu.
I think he picked the wrong fast food restaurants, but he did okay otherwise.
Yeah, I was going to say the brunch is spectacular, and the mani-pedis are really a good idea.
Yes.
I say that as someone who
I have to say this because I didn't get to say it yet, Andy.
Yeah, go ahead.
I met Britt, my now wife, when I was 31 years old, or something, like 3 or 4 years ago. And before then, I had never had a massage. I had never had a mani-pedi, and I've never gone to one of those Asian foot rub places. Now, don't roll your eyes and think about what people always think about when you say Asian foot massage parlor. Okay, there is no rolling over, but I will say that now that I've experienced
now
if you're on your stomach.
So you're on your stomach while they're massaging your feet?
I was just making a joke.
Okay.
what
Sorry,
people think of when they think of the Asian
the physics
massage
of it
parlor.
were confounding me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what positions that you're in, but when you get a massage, you're usually laying on your stomach. But I have these podcasts have really been ending pretty on a high note.
Oh, they've been ending happily, that's for sure.
Yes, that's right. I have gotten a bunch of mani-pedi. She introduced me to that, and it's divine. And like, there is nothing better than having really pretty nails that are, and I've got very small hands, as previously documented.
This is the second time this week
but like, my cuticles are clean.
You
and
showing the size of your hands to the camera.
My feet are clean, and it's just a very relaxing time. Or if you just go look at Twitter or whatever, do your thing. The massage world is insane. You know, they're very overpriced on vacation, but getting a 60-minute massage, however you like it, is one of the most relaxing things a human being can do. And then they have all these Asian foot rub places all over the place. And I used to drive by and go,
"Who be Asian, Ari? Why can't?"
That's what they're called. They're called Asian foot rubs.
People's rub your feet.
I'm just telling you what they're called. It's called Asian foot. It's what it says on the marquee. And I go in
South
there.
American ones?
I don't know. I would go there if there were.
European foot rub?
Have you ever had an Asian foot rub?
I don't like other people touching my feet.
What's wrong with you? Have you ever had one? It's like $35, and they
I'm not sure a person from any continent has ever rubbed my feet when I've been willing for that to happen.
It's like $30, and for 60 minutes they rub from your knee down, and they rub it, and it's like the most. You get in this big like lazy boy chair. The best date I ever had. Britt took me to a steakhouse, and then we went and had a few drinks, and then we Ubered to Target. And she didn't tell me why. She comes back out of Target with sweatpants. And I'm like, it's 10 o'clock at night. Like, why are you getting sweatpants? She goes, shut up. Just listen to me. This is the first week I moved to Dallas. Then she Ubered us to a Yaya Foot Spa is what it's called. And I walk,
at
I'm like,
10
why
o'clock at night?
They're open to like 2 a.m, dude. And like, I was buzzed.
Oh yeah, nothing's going on there.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. This is the cliche. This is the stigma that I'm trying to fight against.
Entire world I don't even know exists. This is amazing.
I didn't know it exists either. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We pull into this foot spa. It's like 10:30 in the night. She goes into the back and changes into sweatpants. And she goes, I was wearing jeans and I can't roll them up. So she put on some cheap pair of sweatpants. We sat next to each other, well intoxicated, full on steak and a high-end meal. And we laid there while they played spa music and they rubbed our feet for an hour and 10 minutes. And it was probably the best night of my life. And the next time you come to Dallas, we're going to get an Asian foot rub, and you're going to Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
I'm getting some bacon burnt ends. That money is much better spent on bacon burnt ends.
We'll go get bacon burnt ends and then get our feet rubbed when you're full and satisfied. And that's a bet. That's what I want. Like, and then I want you to have to experience this because I'm passionate about it. And anybody who's on my side of the fence knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Can we get a North American foot rub?
If they have them, sure. As long as there's a person who is massaging my feet, ankles, and thigh. I mean, not thigh. That's when you get in trouble. My calf muscles. The way I'm just telling you, they put oil on it and they just rub it for like an hour. I fall asleep, dude. It's
Ari, the way you're describing this, I have no idea why Jeremy Pruitt didn't win a national championship.
I'm just telling you. And this whole world of male pampering has been opened up to me. Now, even when I get a haircut, they have like these wax things that you put your hands into and they rub your arms with oil and they make you feel good. Like, I'm 35 years old. I've had a hard life. Time for me to start treating myself.
You're the human equivalent of veal.
Which I'm having for dinner tonight, ironically enough.
Of course you are.
It's my birthday dinner tonight. We're going to some Italian restaurant in Texas, and I'm getting veal parm tonight.
Well, happy birthday. I hope there's a foot massage in your future, and I hope everything ends happily. That's all I can say. We'll talk to you later.